Hello everyone, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey.
Welcome to episode 20 of Bourbon Trail Tales and Tastes. Today we're taking you to Maysville, Kentucky and the Old Pogue Distillery. This was our 25th distillery to visit and our 20th stamp on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So we had a guided tasting and a tour of the facility, which is quite historic because they are DSP number 3. So they've been around for quite some time. So I'm pretty excited to share our memories, and our memories are pretty fresh right now because we happened to make another visit there just recently in March. We experienced it all over again. We didn't do a tour, but just being back at the facility and at the property really brought back a lot of really fond memories. So Wayne, what is your first memory of arriving at the historic Old Pogue Distillery?
Well, we drove by the property and I was getting a little worried because we were on a very skinny 2-lane road, and we found the place to turn off, which was kind of this little dirt parking lot that was on a hill.
It's like a hairpin turn.
And so we parked there, and I honestly was almost praying that our car wouldn't be at the bottom of the hill by the end of the tour.
By the edge of the river, probably.
Yes, which would not be a good thing. So we pulled up, parked, walked across this little bridge area, and walked to the house, which is a cute little house.
Right as you're walking up to the house, there's a National Historic plaque on the house because it is recognized as a historic property. And that kind of set the tone for me, knowing that we were really stepping into history and going to really be visiting something interesting. Obviously, if it's DSP 3 in Kentucky, it's pretty historic. I think they only do tours on the weekend. It's typically on the weekends only, and even to visit the gift shop, you have to book a 15-minute appointment.
Which is kind of funny to go book for 15 minutes, go ahead and shop. But, you know, they're a smaller place, and it was a fantastic tour. For me, it was very enlightening. And my biggest memory was this: when we walked outside of the property, we walked to what was now kind of a little bit of a rig house, and where I think they have a still.
That's where they do their distilling still. They don't really store much there. They store a few barrels on property, but they have another location that they store at. But they still do their distilling there.
Yes. So as we walked there, we stopped and we were asked to go ahead and look down the hill. And we were described what the area was back in the day. And that was where I had the real revelation in my heart and in mind of the fact that the Depression was started because of Prohibition. Because as I look down this hill, you see, I believe it's the Ohio River. Then you have these railroad tracks. And there was a building there that has since burned down, which was an area I want to say they used for storage for the shipping that they did.
Yeah, whether it was coming off the rail or going on the rail or going onto the ship, that was kind of a holding area where they could then move the transport goods.
Yes. And so I looked at this, and my understanding of history with the Depression was having to do with the stock market and things like that. But as I looked at this, I realized that the seeds of the Depression were sown years later by a very stupid move and a non-thought out move, that if you stop producing alcohol, you impacted the shipping, which was on the water, which was on the rail.
A lot of employees.
You impacted farmers. You impacted people that worked at the distillery.
The railway.
Yes. You impacted bars and places that sold the liquor.
Distributors.
Yes. And I sat there and I remember looking at this and being mad.
Yeah.
Because once again, government getting involved in a very stupid and non-thought out way led to things and led to businesses and people's lives being impacted. So this small house that we were at is probably one of my top 3, 4, 5 memories of the entire trail, because bad decisions lead to bad things happening to people.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of my memories was before we left the house. I believe his name is John. That is one of the owners, and he's also the distiller. And he does this on the weekend. He has a full-time job, as we've talked about. A lot of folks that are running these smaller craft distilleries, they have full-time jobs. So they're not producing a ton, but he's there all the weekends and helping with tours and meeting with people that are interested in what Old Pogue is all about. And he gave a lot of family history. And if you walk around the inside of the house, they have so many wonderful areas that have photographs with historical information that you can just sit there and just take it all in. And it's around the fireplace, it's on this wall, it's in the dining room. The dining room is just covered with history about the area and also about Old Pogue. And that was just fascinating. I mean, we both just really embrace the history of the places we visit, especially of this significance when it goes back that far. And he talked about, and we've heard this from others, that, of course, it was shut down during Prohibition, and that they were able to get the DSP number back because there is family lineage and it is the original property. So I think they had people that they had to buy the house back from somebody.
Yes, they did.
I remember that they had to buy it back, and then it was a little bit of time before they could actually take ownership of it or take occupation of it. But I don't remember that completely. But those are really key factors for those wanting to, bring back to life a previously closed distillery. You have to have some provenance, so to speak, to say that you have ownership to this line, this DSP, this name, to be able to get those things back. And they were able to do all of that. So that shows the people that should be running it are running it, which I think is pretty exciting. But
it is. And if you go there, it's a 2-story house, but you will only be able to tour the bottom part. So we have no idea what the upper part looks like.
I think someone lives there.
That could be. That part I do not remember. Wouldn't surprise me because the area that it's in it's way out, and I really don't think I'd want that property not occupied on a regular basis.
So then after we did that part and we took in this beautiful scene, as Wayne was talking about, overlooking the Ohio River and seeing the railway down there and whatever else went on, then we went into what I would call a pretty small distillery. It's a pot still. A pot still was in there, and we met our little visitor there, their black and white cat named Roger, and he was very friendly and wanting to get some pets from everybody. And ironically, we were back there in March, and he came running up to us and followed us, and he was our escort into the building this time. And the lady that was running the tour, she said, "That's really unusual. He doesn't take to everybody like that." I said, "Well, I don't know if he remembers us from 2.5 years ago, but he came running to us, wanted us to pet him, and gave us an escort into the house." So it was pretty cute.
And at the time, he had not been there that long.
He was just a kitten.
Yeah, I don't remember if he was an abandoned cat or just they found whatever the story was, but he was lurking about, and he was walking around the area where they had all the barrels, and he was very comfortable. And if you do a tour of a distillery, you're going to see these little things on the side that basically are there to catch mice and rats.
Because of all the grain.
And which is why, coincidentally, you have cats there. Why? Because cats love mice and rats.
Mousers.
They do. And he basically, at that period of time, you could tell the way he was walking around and presenting himself to people. He's like, "Look, I'm living here. I'm going to be the occupier of this area, and there's not going to be any mice or rats that are going to be around on my watch." Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And then we went back inside and did our guided tasting, because I think they put it at the end because they want to make sure you have an opportunity to buy, which we did. So we bought one of everything. Shocking. We also bought, Wayne was so enamored by the story and the history and everything else that it was actually our first purchase of a barrel head.
Yes.
And so we have the Old Pogue barrel head. We only have 3 barrel heads. We have the McBrayer one, we have a Wild Turkey one, and then we have the Old Pogue. So those are our 3 barrel heads. And someday we'll have a Your Bourbon Journey one, but we don't have one yet. Tastings included, or if you go in there just for a gift shop visit, you get a free tasting, which is pretty cool. But they want you to buy their stuff because it's not highly distributed. You do see the Old Pogue in stores, and you also see the Maysville, which is their rye. Those are the 2 that I've seen even in Indiana liquor stores. I've seen that quite a bit. Well, you ready to do the taste part of this?
Nah, I just wanted to sit here and talk.
Well, we're pretty excited because today is the first time we've opened this. But I will say this, when we tasted most recently in March, we bought a second bottle of this because the tasting, I said, oh my goodness, I don't think we've opened this at home, but I think I'm going to want a backup bottle. So let me tell you a little bit about this before we get to tasting it. Today, we are tasting the Belle of Maysville. This is a Kentucky straight wheat malt whiskey made by Old Pogue Distillery. It is 100% malted wheat. It was aged 7 years. The cask was filled in spring of 2015 and the bottling season was summer of 2022. It is cask number 105. Proof is 104, and the MSRP, as well as what we paid for it on November 5th in 2022, was $150 at the distillery in Maysville, Kentucky. So we were pretty early in our bourbon journey at that time. We weren't doing a lot of rye. We bought this, and I'm not even sure we understood what a wheat whiskey was then.
No, we didn't.
Now we like Bernheim. We like a wheat whiskey that Penelope does, and we like wheated bourbons, and we understand the difference in them. We understand a wheat whiskey, and we understand a wheated bourbon. So I'm tickled pink almost to be trying this today. Do a fresh crack on it. It is a signed bottle. I didn't mention that, but see, it's a signed bottle. And we're pretty excited to taste it and see what it's all about.
Let's go ahead and let's take a look.
It's kind of dark. It is 7 years old. So it's got some age on it.
Well, it's already forming legs. And normally, I have trouble with the lighting. I don't know what it is about what we do, but I usually have trouble picking up the legs on my glass. I have to look at hers. I'm getting them.
It's got legs forming that look lovely, and it's kind of I would say medium to dark amber. It's kind of a pretty color. It's really nice.
Yeah, it is definitely not light.
No, but it's 7 years old.
Makes sense.
Check out the news. Oh, you smell that wheat for sure.
It is sweet. Sweet wheat, confectionery
and
sugar.
Nutty. There's a nuttiness to it. Sometimes I haven't gotten a nuttiness on a wheat in a while. Usually I get more bread notes or confectionery notes, but this one I'm getting some nuttiness too.
I'm getting a lot of confectionery sugar. This is
I'm
a sweet wheat.
not getting that.
This is a sweet wheat.
But there's a behind the scene nuttiness that's kind of in the background. It's almost like honey roasted nuts, because the nuts smell sweet.
I want to say there is a stone fruit back there. And while I say that, I'm frustrated because I'm not sure what it is.
Are you thinking like maybe apricot?
Could be.
Because it's not like cherry or anything like that.
It's not pear.
It's not quite a peach or apple. So that's why I kind of lean towards maybe it's an apricot.
This is two lanes for me. This is just confectionery sugar and wheat. This is
it
just
smells so good.
Well, I'm done. I don't want to sniff it anymore. Because I'm going to get annoyed that there's something there that I can't find, and it smells really good.
Cheers to our first taste of this bottle for the Belle of Maysville. Cheers.
Cheers.
You gotta be getting the nuttiness though.
I'm getting the wheat. Because my wife tells me to get it, I am finding the nut.
I think it comes from the wheat grain a lot. It's not the same nuttiness you get off of Jim Beam. It's not peanuts.
No.
It's a different nuttiness. It's a softer nut. I don't know if it's an almond or something like that, or a macadamia or whatever, but a hazelnut. But it's definitely a light nut. It's not like a peanut.
There's also there's a bit of barrel in the back.
Again, it's like right in the center of my tongue is where that nutty note goes. And then on the side, I'm feeling this confectionery sugar. I'm not getting the fruit note that I had on the nose. I'm not getting that on the palate.
I get a hint of chocolate. And a hint of leather. There's some dark complexities in the back of this that are very good. Very, very good. It goes from sweet to savory.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm kind of being quiet because I'm just loving all the different layers that are happening. We talked about the legs, it's got a great mouthfeel, and that's allowing so many flavors to come forward that I'm just loving. I can't believe we've had this bottle for 2.5 years and just opened it today. So we're gonna have to create a wheat whiskey shelf so we make sure we go grab our wheat whiskeys now and then. Yeah, that light nuttiness is just lovely. This is a fantastic whiskey.
Okay, my mind is telling me, I almost feel hazelnut.
Yeah, I was kind of leaning there too because it's a buttery nut. Yeah, it's not a dry nut, it's a buttery nut.
It's not a peanut or a walnut.
Which are dry. Yeah, it's a buttery nut, which hazelnut, and the only thing more buttery than a hazelnut would be a macadamia, and that's not this. But it's buttery. But on the finish, it is really long, and it's a pretty good proof, and it's 7 years old. I think those notes you were picking up earlier on the back of your palate, I'm getting here, the kind of a leather note, and more like a white pepper finish for me is what I'm feeling as far as the spice notes go. But I do think that there is a bit of dark chocolate on that, on the finish, which I like. I mean, leather and dark chocolate. I mean, it sounds like a weird combo, but it works for me.
It's definitely sweet on the front.
Especially the nose.
Yeah. And it gets darker and darker.
Yeah, it starts out really sweet and confectionery. And then as the palate, it's still got that sweetness, but it's a little more savory. And then it's dark notes when you get to the finish. It takes you on a nice journey.
Yeah. It takes you to both angles, a sweet, a pleasant one, and then more of an adult type leather, tobacco, pepper type barrel presence.
Yeah, I would highly recommend this. I think it's a distillery only. I'm not sure. It might be offered in that area alone, but it's great. And
once again, it's one of the things that I've enjoyed about the Bourbon Trail. When I first started this, my wife did kind of drag me along, and I didn't know what to think. Not only the tasting,
is what our 25th distillery at this point.
Yes,
so.
It was well before that I became a, if you want to call it, a bourbon or whiskey fan. But like I said, this one here, it's a small little place, and we embrace the craft. That's kind of what we are about. Nothing against the big dogs, because we like several of them.
Love them too.
But this one here, like I said, it really tugged at our heartstrings.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, but we talked about it recently for something else. We were tasting the Buckners, I think, recently, and which is from Augusta. The Northern Kentucky grouping of distilleries is now like 10 now. And I know everyone goes to Louisville and everyone goes to like Frankfurt and Bardstown, but you can't, if you're really wanting to do the trail, you can't leave Northern Kentucky off. And there's 10 distilleries. Everything's kind of around just on the other side of the river from Cincinnati. And if you're not geographically picturing where this is, so think Cincinnati and then go across the river to the south, and there's Covington and Newport, and then it all kind of spans out from there. So to go to Maysville, which is where Old Pogue is, it's about an hour drive from Newport. And then when I'm planning trips, I always start the furthest point. So we get up early in the morning and we drive all the way out to Maysville, and we work our way back. So then we went to Augusta, and then we went to Beckernburg. Then we get back to Newport, where you can go to New Riff and Pensive. And then you can go to Covington, where you can go to Wenzel, and you can go to Revival Vintage Spirits. And then you go a little bit over to Ludlow, and you can see Second Sight. And it just keeps going on. And then on the way down the 71, you can stop at Boone. So, there's just so many ways to visit all these distilleries in the area. Did I leave anybody out?
I think that is actually it.
Okay.
And Wenzel's,
I was driving it in my mind.
And Wenzel's a new one that's going to really be going live here in the near future.
Very soon. Right now they're doing blending things and they're sourcing, but they have a distillery that they've been going through a process of getting everything up and running and legal so they can do it. So getting their permits and all that kind of stuff, because it's in downtown Covington. So that takes a little bit of extra special permitting to do something in a downtown area.
Yeah, so for us, we encourage people out there to check out the places that we had just mentioned, and certainly go to Old Pogue. And their gift shop is fantastic. There's a lot to buy. There's a lot of good things that are there. We've always enjoyed it. Like I said, I look down, our barrelhead's over there. So
well, I want to say one other thing about something we've not done, and that is another 15 minutes due east is actually the town of Maysville, the actual town. We've never made it the other 15 minutes. We've always had so many other appointments. But if you go all the way into Maysville, there's a museum there that has a special tour about Old Pogue. They have a historic tour that's part of it. You can sign up for that from their website as well. So you can sign up for a tour for there at the museum, or you can sign up for a tour at the distillery. I would highly recommend doing the distillery one first, because I think that gives you the foundation to probably appreciate other things about it. But next time we're up in Northern Kentucky, I really want to check out the museum in Maysville, because we've never actually made it into Maysville proper. So
that all that said, Old Pogue, the DSP number 3, you brought it back. And you should be proud. This is really, really good wheat whiskey. Cheers to you. Have a great day. If you like what we do, hit subscribe, and always remember to drink responsibly. Cheers.
Cheers.